Okay, we're going to look at some models with multiplying fractions. So let's look at this fraction 2/4 times 12. If you look at the 4, we're using the number 4, our denominator, as the number of groups we're going to have. And the 12, we're going to break up the 12 into that number of groups. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my 4 groups, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now my numerator of 2, that tells me how many groups of those. You see my fourths? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my 4 groups. Let me go on and number it off so you can see it. And of those 4 groups, I want 2 of those groups. So I'm going to circle 2 of those 4 groups. So 2/4 of 12, or 2/4 times 12, would equal 6. So if I did the math for it, I would put the whole number over 1 and multiply across. 2 times 12 is 24. And my denominator is 4 times 1 equals 4. Again, this is a, what do you call it, an improper fraction, so I would have to do top dog in the house, meaning I would need to divide it. So let me divide it over here. 24 divided by 4. 4 goes into 24 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. 0. So since there's no remainder, there's no fraction, my answer is 6. Here's 6. Here's 6. Now, you may wonder, well, what if it's not equal? Sometimes pictures are not going to always be dots, because you can't always split up certain numbers like into equal groups. So, for example, let's say like 3. Well, I cannot make 4 groups of 3, so you might see a different model. They might show this as a different type of picture. So I'm going to show 2/4 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because again, multiplication is also repeated addition. So here's 2/4, 2/4, 2/4. This model represents this picture. I have 3 groups of my 2/4. If I put 2/4 and 2/4 together, that itself equals 1 whole, with 2/4 over here left over. So it'll be 1 and 2/4, which we also know if we simplify 2/4, that'll be 1 and 1/2. And the way you simplify it is you divide them both by 2. So again, I ended up with 1 and 1/2. Let's say I did the math. Remember, you put the 3 over 1, because it's a whole number, and then you multiply across. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. Again, improper fraction, so I do top dog in the house. 4 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract, you have 2 left over. Remember, my leftover now becomes my numerator, and my denominator, my original denominator when I was multiplying a 4, stays the same. See, 1 and 2/4. I had 1 and 2/4. I know it's kind of hard to see it, my marker. 1 and 2/4. If I simplify it, 2 and 4 are both even numbers. So that means I can divide them both by 2. So my final answer will be 1 and 1/2. 1 and 1/2. 1 and 1/2. So this is like another model that could be shown for multiplying fractions.